embarrassing, Mr. Speaker, is nobody in the Conservative caucus seems to have spoken out when one of their members got an all-expenses-paid trip to an extreme anti-abortion church in Florida.
By making these attacks, he's actually left his flank wide open, and I really wish the Conservatives would think of going for it.
That might be very uncomfortable for some of your people. You need to get on social media and say something about it.
Reproductive health is health, and abortion is health care.
Canadian nice has been referenced a few times already. You must speak when mischief is framed by a law.
Mr. Speaker, and I completely agree. Abortion is health care. It's absolutely essential that every woman in every part of this country has access not only to abortion, but to the reproductive tools that she needs to have control and autonomy over her own body. And we are making remarkable progress on that.
You must speak when mischief is framed by a law.
That was the offer. We'll do it for free. We'll take your children. And we gave them. We gave them.
That's what freedom looks like. That's what we're delivering.
Hear, hear.
Again, this is war. How do you take back the culture? We need people who have been remade in the image of God.
Justin Trudeau's Canada has no room for believing Christians, and Christians should notice that. Justin Trudeau's Canada is one of pride parades, not pro-life marches.
Mr. Speaker, every time the Leader of the Opposition gets up on his feet to rhyme off his little show, his party members applaud enthusiastically. But the two times he just stood up to suggest that he is perhaps pro-choice, silence from his team, Mr. Speaker. He cannot protect women's rights from the members of his own caucus, Mr. Speaker. That's not standing up for women. That's not protecting the future. That's not freedom in this country.
This. You must speak when mischief is framed by a law.
Talk, please.
Beyond the normal fear and falsehoods, what we're seeing from this Prime Minister today is someone who is erratic and lost control of himself because he is so desperate to hold on to power.
Pierre Poilievre is not pro-life. In fact, he is avowedly pro-choice. But it seems pretty clear, his biographer, my friend Andrew Lawton, said that essentially he married a pro-choice woman from Quebec, and that is where he got his views on abortion from. And so Pierre is very pro-choice. He constantly affirms the fact that he's not going to touch the abortion status quo.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition from the top, please.
My question was about car theft. My next one is about Nanaimo drug dens.
They're just staring you right in the face here in Canada particularly is how your own government has certainly been infected with feminism. The hallmark of that feminism is individualism. So the woman must be detached from the man and then put on some kind of pedestal so that she can be liberated and then left alone.
Some crisis pregnancy centers are dishonest. They don't provide abortions, and they purposely don't tell you that. Women have choices in Canada. If these centers want their charitable status, they need to be transparent about the choices they offer and the ones they don't.
Justin Trudeau's Canada has no room for believing Christians, and Christians should notice that. Justin Trudeau's Canada is one of pride parades, not pro-life marches.
Well, I have described your government. That's exactly what they've done. That's what they did during COVID. They reject the triune God. They claim that they don't get their orders or their position from Him. And whatever it is they want to do now, they have endless potential. They can mask you. They can shut down your churches. They can do whatever they want. And they have really imbibed that way of thinking. They thought that that was reality until you had men like Tim Stephens and James Coates.
It's imperative that anti-choice organizations are not putting the health and safety of young people and vulnerable women at risk.
With the changes that are proposed in this bill, organizations will have to clearly communicate on all the services they offer, otherwise they risk losing their status.
Some Christian churches really are dishonest. They don't provide sermons on abortion. That needs to change. Women have choices in Canada. If these churches want their charitable status, they need to be transparent about the sermons they offer and the ones they don't.
By making these attacks, he's actually left his flank wide open, and I really wish the Conservatives would think of going for it.
You must actually speak up and say something about it. This is Psalm 94, verse 16 through 23, speaks of those who are actually going to frame mischief by a law. That kind of thing happens all the time when it comes to male and female, and you actually have to say something. It's not enough for you to politely disagree in your home during your quiet time with the Lord. You actually have to speak it. And you have to ask for ministers that are actually going to stand at pulpits and say something about it. And men in your homes, you have to say something about it. That might be very uncomfortable for some of your people. You need to get on social media and say something about it. Constantly saying, we will not continue to be led astray by civil authorities who are going to establish mischief, and they're going to instantiate it in code and then expect us all to follow along. We're simply not going to do that. That is the feminist idea that's come into government, that we will have some kind of secularized government that will not care about or seek to protect the Church of God. So the massive problem that happened in Canada and in the States is so terribly wrong because they didn't protect the church, rather they abused the church. They locked up the doors of the church when they should have been the first ones saying, no shutting down of the churches.